Mr. Cook's English class. Today I'm going to keep it real simple, real brief. We're going back to those various types of nonfiction writing. Today we're going to be focusing on a functional text. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that actually means. So to keep it real simple, something easy for you to remember, a functional text simply teaches you how to function. And what that means is how to complete a task, how to function in your everyday life. And there's many different examples of what's considered a functional text, and probably some that you never even considered. I know that one of the biggest functional texts out there is simple instructions for making a recipe, right? So if you're looking at making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's going to tell you specifically what ingredients you need to use, how much of those ingredients you need to have, and then the steps in order how to go about putting that sandwich together. Another example, putting together any sort of electronic equipment, any manual of sorts. So if it's a manual that explains how your PlayStation works, you're going to find that when you open up the box, you open up that first page, it's going to show you a list of parts. It's going to show you the power cord, it's going to show you that you need an HDMI cord, it's going to explain to you how to plug that into a wall. It's going to be real specific. If we took it a step further, something that needs even more steps is if you're looking to build any form of furniture. When you open up that page where it shows all the parts, you're going to see that there are a list of all the parts, what kind of nails you need, how many of them, what kind of screws you need, how many of those, each of the pieces, and they're all going to have a different letter, and you'll see that there's different arrows pointing out to which piece is which. And you'll find that the directions are extremely specific. And you might be thinking, why is the person who's writing this making these directions so specific? I can get this. And the truth is that not everybody understands all directions, and they have to make them extremely specific. To give you a perfectly good example, if you look at the warning label on almost anything that you use, an iron maybe for ironing clothes, it will say specifically on there, warning, do not iron clothes while on the body. And you might be thinking, well, duh, of course not to do that. I know, why would I do that? Well, it's because somebody out there actually did those things. And the reason why it's important to make sure that these texts are extremely specific is because when you're out in the workplace, you need to be able to follow directions. And you want to make sure that whoever you're telling to do a task, or if you're being told to do a task, that it gets done right and gets done right the first time. So functional text is extremely important. Another example that you see every day when you're driving on the road is traffic signs. We all know this symbol right here means stop. There's other ones that tell you to yield, as well as directions on how to get to a destination. If you're driving on the highway, you might see that exit 295 takes you to Gorman Street. You might find that when you're driving and you're looking at a map, the directions on how to get there, that's also a functional text. They also take place in electronic form. If you're driving, you use your cell phone for directions, for a GPS, that is a functional text. It's telling you how to complete a task. It's telling you when to get off at a certain exit. Among other functional texts that you find are paper copies of maps. One of my favorite theme parks is Disney World. You walk in, it's going to tell you how to get to Space Mountain from the entrance. Following those steps is considered using a functional text. So again, a functional text is any text that teaches you how to do something, like books like this that tell you how to perform a task. Those how to perform a task for dummy books. They show you how to complete a task or a project, or what you need to know in order to complete any sort of activity. So if I was going and looking into something such as mountain climbing, and I wanted to know specifically what do I need, what materials do I need to be able to do that task, I'm going to look at a functional text. So functional texts are everywhere. One of the most important parts of nonfiction writing. And again, real quick, the reason why we do this is because you want to make sure when you go into a job that you can complete a task and do it right the first time. And if you're supervising somebody and you don't give them enough directions, you have to assume that that task is not going to be done correct. So this text, the functional text, is used all the time and is extremely important in our real world today, not just in the classroom. And that being said, I will see you in the classroom next time.